Welcome back to my channel. The old pickup truck rattled down the dusty road just after sunrise. Tied to the trailer behind it was what looked like nothing more than a pile of rust. The faded silver sports car had mismatched body panels, peeling paint, cracked headlights, and dents on nearly every side. Most people would have called it junk. But to Ethan Carter, it was something else. It was a promise. As he tightened the straps one last time, his 10-year-old son, Noah, climbed into the passenger seat. "Dad," Noah asked nervously, "do you really think our car can beat all those supercars?" Ethan smiled without taking his eyes off the road. "I don't need the prettiest car, buddy. I only need the smartest one." The father and son drove toward the biggest racing event in America, the Phoenix Grand Challenge, where the winner would receive a $5 million prize and a contract with the world's top performance car manufacturer. Hundreds of spectators packed the enormous racing complex. Luxury trailers lined the paddock. Ferraris, Bugattis, Koenigsegg's. Custom race cars worth millions of dollars. Then Ethan's rusty trailer rolled through the gate. People immediately burst into laughter. "Look at that thing. Did someone tow a scrapyard into the race? That car belongs in a museum, or a junkyard." Noah lowered his head. "Dad, everyone's laughing." Ethan rested a hand on his son's shoulder. "Never let someone else's opinion become your limit." As they unloaded the old car, a crowd gathered to take pictures. Not because they admired it, but because they thought it was hilarious. A few minutes later, black luxury SUVs pulled into the paddock. Out stepped Victoria Lawson, the billionaire CEO of Titan Velocity Motors. She was one of the event's biggest sponsors and one of the judges who would award the development contract after the race. Dressed in an elegant orange business suit, she walked straight toward Ethan. She looked at the rusty car and couldn't hide her smile. "So, this is your race car?" Ethan nodded calmly. "It is." Victoria laughed loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. "I've seen lawn mowers in better condition." The crowd laughed with her. She walked around the car, inspecting every dent and scratch. "Did you build this in your backyard?" "Yes." "And you seriously believe it belongs on the same track as multi-million-dollar race cars?" Ethan answered with complete confidence. "I believe the driver matters more than the paint." Victoria shook her head. "You'll be lucky if this thing survives the first lap." Noah clenched his fists. He wanted to defend his father. But Ethan quietly stopped him. "Let them laugh. The track always tells the truth." Nearby, race officials performed the mandatory technical inspection. One engineer frowned. "This doesn't make sense." Another looked underneath the car. "Wait. These suspension components are completely custom." A third engineer opened the hood. Silence. Inside wasn't an ordinary engine. Every component had been hand-built. The exhaust manifolds looked like artwork. The cooling system was unlike anything they had seen before. One mechanic whispered, "Who designed this?" Ethan simply replied, "I did." The chief inspector looked impressed. "I've inspected race cars for 30 years. I've never seen engineering like this." Word spread quickly through the paddock. Within minutes, professional drivers, mechanics, and journalists surrounded Ethan's car. Victoria noticed the growing crowd and frowned. "What's happening?" One engineer walked over. "You should see the engine." She looked under the hood. For the first time that morning, she stopped smiling. This can't be handmade." Ethan calmly handed her a worn notebook filled with sketches. "I designed every part in my garage after work." Victoria flipped through the pages. Years of calculations. Thousands of handwritten notes. Hundreds of design revisions. She closed the notebook. "It still won't beat factory-built race cars." Ethan smiled. We'll find out. An hour later, the race began. 24 cars lined up on the starting grid. Luxury teams filled with engineers and computers surrounded every competitor. Ethan had only Noah. The lights turned red. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Green. The supercars exploded forward. Ethan's rusty car stayed near the back during the opening laps. Spectators laughed. I knew it. The junk car is finished. Victoria folded her arms. I expected this. But Ethan wasn't racing the other drivers. He was studying them. He watched their braking points. Their tire wear. Their fuel usage. Lap after lap, the expensive cars pushed harder. Their tires overheated. Their brakes faded.
Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Enjoy the video.
Fuel consumption increased. Meanwhile, Ethan's handmade machine remained calm and balanced. By lap 15, he quietly climbed into the top 10. Then the top 8. Then the top 5. Commentators became excited. Where did this guy come from? That rusty car is unbelievably consistent. Rain clouds suddenly covered the circuit. Within minutes, heavy rain soaked the track. Luxury teams rushed to change strategies. Some drivers spun into the gravel. Others crashed into barriers. Chaos spread across the circuit. But Ethan had prepared for this. Years earlier, he had designed a suspension system that automatically shifted weight during wet conditions. The old scrap car suddenly came alive. One by one, he overtook every supercar. The crowd stood in disbelief. Noah jumped to his feet inside the pit lane. Go, Dad. With only 3 laps remaining. Ethan was running second. The race leader drove a prototype worth over $8 million. Victoria watched the timing screen. No. He can't actually win. The final lap began. The leader defended aggressively. But entering the last corner, Ethan took a completely different racing line. His custom suspension gripped where everyone else slid. The rusty backyard car accelerated perfectly onto the main straight. It flew past the $1 million prototype just meters before the finish line. The checkered flag waved. Silence. Then the scoreboard updated. First place, Ethan Carter. The stadium exploded. Thousands of fans cheered. Reporters rushed toward pit lane. Noah ran into his father's arms. You did it. Ethan hugged his son tightly. We did it. Victoria slowly walked toward them. For several seconds. She couldn't speak. Finally she said. I laughed at your car. I judged it by its appearance. I was completely wrong. She extended her hand. I've spent my career investing in expensive technology. But today, you reminded me that true innovation doesn't always come from billion-dollar companies. Ethan shook her hand. The greatest ideas usually begin in small garages. The race organizers handed Ethan a check for $5 million. But before he could celebrate, every major automotive company surrounded him with offers. One offered $20 million for the car. Another offered $35 million. A third offered $50 million for the complete design. Ethan smiled politely. I'm not selling. Everyone looked shocked. Victoria asked. Why not? Ethan looked at Noah. Because this car isn't just metal. It's every late night. Every sacrifice. Every promise I made to my son. You can't put a price on that. The audience gave Ethan a standing ovation. A week later, instead of selling his invention, Ethan founded the Carter Performance Academy, where young mechanics from ordinary families could learn advanced engineering for free. His backyard workshop became one of the world's most respected innovation centers. The rusty scrap car that everyone had mocked was placed in the Academy's entrance hall exactly as it finished the race, scratches, dents, and all. A bronze plaque beneath it read, "Never judge greatness by its appearance. Sometimes the world's greatest champions begin in an ordinary backyard." And every new student who walked through those doors remembered the story of the single dad whose rusty scrap car defeated million-dollar supercars, and proved that determination, talent, and heart will always outrun pride. Like and subscribe.